I found out that my daughter was at the ER and couldn't get treatment because my wife was nowhere to be found. I checked her location, which pointed to a hotel. She returned hours later, claiming she was with a friend at a coffee shop. But I'm not as effing stupid as she thinks I am. Never thought I'd be here, but yet here I am. This weekend, my wife, 38F, and our daughter, 13F, went to visit her mom. I couldn't go because I couldn't get time off work, and we decided it would just be a girls' weekend for them. I'm a firefighter in a large southern city, and I'm on a call and gearing up when our dispatcher calls in to tell me that there is some emergency. I'm not really needed on the work call, so I get my cell phone and find a bunch of texts from my kid and a couple from a number I don't have in my phone. In the course of about 11 text messages, I learned that my daughter has gone ice skating, fallen, and broken her wrist. She's in the emergency room but cannot get treatment because no one can find my wife. The number that I don't know belongs to a friend of my wife, who has gone to the emergency room to sit with my kid. She was the chaperone for the girls who had gone skating. So I call this friend, and after a lot of hemming and hawing, she admits that wifey has gone to dinner with some random guy. Well, we always leave our location shared with the family because of my job. Sure enough, I pull up an address and Google it, and it's a fucking hotel. This was 10 p.m. It's now almost 4 hours later, and she hasn't answered my texts, but she did finally call our kid. I gave permission and insurance information, and she got a cast and a referral to see an orthopedist when she gets home. The friend took our daughter back to her grandmother's and texted me. She said, "I'm sorry you had to find out this way about a guy's name. Apparently, it's been going on every time she's gone home that I haven't gone. Meanwhile, I've worked countless hours of overtime to pay off our house, take us on nice vacations, and send our daughter to the most expensive private school in our city. I'm a fool." Update: my wife claims that this guy is just a friend and that they were at a coffee shop the whole time. She really must think I'm stupid. I pay all of our bills, so I logged into our cell phone account and found one particular number that she has called and texted far more than any other. I haven't confronted her other than to say that I was disappointed that she wasn't there when our daughter truly needed her. I've taken a few other steps to protect myself, but I'm not going to discuss them here. It took me about 15 seconds to figure out who the guy is, and of course, he is married as well. They are supposed to get home late tonight, so we will see what happens then. Update 2, I spoke with a lawyer, as many of you suggested. During that conversation, I realized that she doesn't really have a lot of access to money that is hers. I removed her as an authorized user of my credit cards and put two-factor authentication on just about anything else that she might try to get her hands on. I pulled my credit report and discovered that she opened a joint credit card I didn't know about. Since I'm on the account as well, I was able to log in and print out the charges, a basically perfect timeline of restaurants and hotels that she has paid for. It turns out she also has accounts on Tinder and Bumble, which showed up when I combed through the last few phone bills. I have a pal who is a deputy sheriff in these parts who is going to be here tonight when she gets home. I've gotten her a room at a nearby hotel for the week and paid for it up front. She can sleep there for now and figure it out on her own starting tomorrow. My daughter and I spoke, and she knows what is up and is angry at her mom. So the next step is to find someone for her to talk to. Thanks to my job, I've got great insurance, so that is one less thing to worry about. I've decided I'm also going to come clean to her mother once my wife and daughter are on the plane back here. I'm taking a couple of days off to deal with this. Thanks for the advice, everyone. I'll probably yank these posts down tonight or tomorrow, so if you have any other last-minute advice, now is the time. Final update: this will be the final update on this sad situation. First off, thanks to everyone who weighed in. It's amazing the number of fellow firefighters and Leos I've heard from who are in similar situations. I took a few days of personal time away from the job to deal with all of this. The STBXW and our daughter returned home late Sunday, and my daughter immediately fled to her room and closed the door. My wife said something along the lines of "I guess you must be pretty mad at me," and I told her the truth. That I was numb. The anger would come later, and it would be best if she was somewhere else for a while. My friend, the deputy sheriff, was there and said he would sit on the deck and be there if I needed him. I told the wife that I was recording this conversation to protect me and my rights as a husband and father, and she said fine. I suspected at this point that she really seemed to think that she was going to talk her way out of it. What I didn't tell her was that I'd spent most of the last week talking with friends, my parents, my battalion chief at work, as well as a lawyer and a therapist. I've got a ton of leave and a supportive bunch of coworkers, and if I need to take months off to deal with this, I can. I just said that I was disappointed in her, but mostly I was angry that our daughter got caught in the crossfire of her bad behavior. That she had put our child at risk to get laid. She didn't admit or deny. But then her tone changed, and she almost immediately started in on saying things like, "Remember the time we..." Trying to get me to remember good times. After about 3 of those mentions, I told her the truth. I couldn't trust my memories because I had no idea what she might have been doing. When that didn't work, she went into the whole "I was lonely because you were working so much" crap. I reminded her that we made a deal about how to pursue a future where we could retire early. I got so mad at this point that I pointed out to her that if she had behaved, we could have retired when she was 48 or so. But But I wanted her to remember that promise because now she is going to have to work for herself. I'm not usually a vindictive person, but I like the idea of her having to work until she's 70 years old and being angry every time she gets dressed to go to a job that she hates. Side note, one of my work buddies who is also married, he and his family have vacationed with us a couple of times too, made this observation. Every time we've gone somewhere, there's been a day or two where the wife has contrived an excuse to be apart from the family. So I played a hunch and said something like, "This wasn't the first time. This was just the first time you got caught." And she just hung her head and very quietly said yes. So I have that admission on tape. She went to the hotel without objection. She wrote me long emails saying things like "I'm sorry and I am not sure why I did what I did." I did not reply. Before she even got home, I'd spoken with her mother and told her about the fact that she was at a hotel with another man while her daughter was in the emergency room, and also about the credit card that she opened. Her mother did not say much, but I told her that if I had any inkling that she was aiding and abetting the wife's bad behavior, I would severely limit her access to her granddaughter. That was probably a mistake on my part, but I was just so fucking angry. The mother-in-law swears that she knew nothing and that she was worried sick that something had happened to my wife when no one could reach her. I also told the mother-in-law that I was not going to allow the wife back into the house if I could do so. And that I expected her to understand that I've never yelled or hit or cheated or done anything else other than the things I promised to do when we got engaged. That seemed to resonate with her. My wife's parents split up when she was in high school because her dad was a serial cheater. So maybe that registered with her mom. I sent a text to the friend who took my daughter to the emergency room. I told her I didn't particularly care if she replied. I said I appreciated her being at the ER with my daughter. But I also said that if she had previous knowledge of where my wife was going, then she should know that she had a huge part in destroying my family. And that a true friend would never encourage shitty behavior. I haven't figured out how to get in touch with her husband yet, but I suspect, based on just sort of reading between the lines, that she and my wife were kind of egging each other on. Thursday morning, I got a text from the wife saying that her mother had rented her a furnished apartment pretty close to our house and that she would like to come and get some personal things on Friday when I went to work. I said that was fine. I should point out that during all of this, she only texted our daughter one time, and even in her communications with me, she never even asked about her. When she told me she got the apartment, she didn't ask if our daughter could come visit. I told her that I wasn't working on Friday but that I would be out of the house for a couple of hours so she could get some things. I left, but I had a process server waiting across the street, and when she pulled up in the driveway, he handed her divorce papers. They included a notice from my attorney that I intend to file for sole custody and that she would have visitation rights. She called my voicemail, and she was almost incoherent with rage. I've never heard her so angry or, frankly, sounding so unbalanced. Also, my lawyer had a very good suggestion that I will pass along for anyone else in this position. I got a new cell phone. I don't carry the phone that has the number the wife knows. I've only given a few people the new number: my lawyer, my sister, my daughter, my boss, and a couple of good friends from work. I take a look at the old phone once a day to see if there's anything I need to deal with. I know there's a lot of other advice out there that I did not touch on, but there is no need for a paternity test because my daughter looks exactly like me. I will get an STD panel, but I don't think that's an issue either. My lawyer did get notified that the wife has hired a lawyer. But I made it clear that I'm going to stay in the house, and the daughter is going to stay there with me. I may have to write her a large check, thanks to the vagaries of family law, but at this point, I really don't give a damn. I'd probably add a zero to the check if I could get rid of her 6 months earlier.